Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Hayemi Maseches KEREISOS Daf Tes. We are holding at the first wide lines. It's around 15 lines off the top. Omar, let's go back and review what we learned yesterday regarding the process of becoming a convert. So the pasuk in Midbar says, a ger will come and join your community. How does it go about doing it? Kasher ta'asu kein ya'aseh. Just like you do, he does. And the Gemara learned yesterday that Hashem is referring to our ancestors, our avos, back in the time, back by Matan Torah. How did they make that transition? How did they become full-fledged Yisrael, which is sort of a gerus process? So we learned this yesterday, around 8 lines from the top. It says, Ma v'yseichem lo nichnasu labris. Just as your parents, your forefathers, did not enter the covenant. They only connected by way of these 3 steps: el b'mila, a bris milah, u'tevila, immersion in a mikvah, v'aratzah dam, the ritzui of a carbon. Likewise, avheim, any new ger in the years to come, lo yikonsu labris. How do they enter the covenant? With 3 steps: el b'mila, u'tevila, v'aratzah dam. Hatzaras Damim was when they brought karbanos by Har Sinai, they made a mizbeach, and some of the dam they actually sprinkled on the Bnei Yisrael. So that, together with Tefillah and Milah, constitutes a full-fledged Yisrael. Likewise, any ger undergoes that process, becomes a ger. Now, what do we find? These 3 experiences amongst our forefathers at the time of Har Sinai. B'Shlema Milah, I understand Milah was certainly an event that happened, because we have a pasuk in Yeshua actually later on when they entered Eretz Yisrael. It was the first time they brought a carbon Pesach in a very long time. They hadn't done it throughout the Midbar because they did not do a bris milah throughout the years of the Midbar. Hashem tells Yeshua, Aseh lecha char bris tzorim, prepare the sharp utensils to do a bris milah to enable them to join the carbon Pesach. Yeah, way back when Klal Yisrael that left Mitzrayim, they experienced the bris milah. And Rashi adds, B'shas it's asan malu, Rashi on the 4th line. Their milah took place in anticipation of leaving Mitzrayim, in anticipation of the upcoming transition to the Yisrael status. Before Matan Torah we would consider B'nai Noach, according to many opinions. We were chosen. Abraham Avinu was chosen, and the descendants were chosen, but we didn't have the status of Yisrael, full-fledged Yisrael, until Har Sinai we got the Torah. So, in preparation for that great event, they did a bris milah on the way out of Mitzrayim. So you see that milah is required to become a ger. Otherwise, you have another pasuk: Va'ever alayich va'erich mispasesib zamayich. Va'ever lech b'damayich chayi l'mayich chayi. So, again, this is as we were leaving Mitzrayim, Hashem saw that we needed mitzvahs. Hashem saw that we were involved in mitzvahs pertaining to dam. Rashi says, what are these 2 references to dam? Rashi again on the 4th line, dam pesach v'dam milah, based on a mechilta, parshas boy. So clearly, we had a bris milah at that point. And again, it seems from the Gemara that transition is considered like a gerus, like converting to full-fledged Yisrael status. And milah is a prerequisite for that. Okay, so milah is checked off. What about a karban? Hartzah's dam nechsiv, we have a pasuk by Har Sinai, vayishlach nar b'nei Yisrael, and they brought karbanos on behalf of Klal Yisrael. Elo tefillah minol. What about tefillah? Where do we find that? In the Pesukim. So part of the dam was sprinkled on the nation, and we have a Kabbalah. Ve'ein hazah b'lei tefillah. You can't have hazah on a person, a dam carbon, without him first being toivel, to be fit for it, to retire the person and enable him to be exposed and to come into contact with the kedusha of the carbon. So clearly, 3 steps are required to become a ger: Mila, Tvila, and Hatzarastam. Interesting. Tezah Zakasha, he says, what about the Bnei Avra, the Yidden that had a bris milah way in advance of Yetzias Mitzrayim? He says, Bnei Avram, and some say, Mimei Avram, K'moshe Levi, they explain. So Bnei Levi, we know, kept the mitzvah of milah all throughout, even during Mitzrayim. Rashi and Chumash says, a bris chayin seira, they kept the bris milah throughout. So what did they have? A bris as part of a gerus process. He says, interesting, he says, even though they did it way ahead of time, way before Yetzias Mitzrayim and the ensuing Matan Torah and attainment of Kedushas Yisrael, so he says like this, Mikol Makom, says Taisus, Mikoro K'shemolo Atzman Molo Likonis B'Bris HaMakom. What was the purpose? What was the objective of that bris? To enter in a bris with Hashem, with the Bado Misharomis, and separate from the Goyim. So it seems like the bris milah that we kept from Bnei Avram onward up until Har Sinai was all sort of an expression of connection to Hashem and separation from the Goyim, identifying as a Yid, as Hashem's people. Hence, it is considered the milah. It's considered the milah of a gerus, and likewise, every ger learns from that. In order to become a ger, he needs to undergo this experience. So what do we do with bris milah? No problem. What about tvila? No problem. What about a carbon today, nowadays? Sorry. What about nowadays? There's no carbon. So we're not going to accept a ger. Amar Rach Bar Yaakov, it's not critical. Throughout your generations. Rashi says, the Reseichem teaches us, so even without a Beis HaMikdash, without the opportunity to bring a carbon, we can still make a ger. As long as he has the tefillah and the milah, and of course Kabbalah Sal Mitzvahs, like we had back in Mesechus Bechoros, he has to makabel everything, fully commit to the Torah way of life. Interesting, once heard a similar interpretation of the pasuk by Tzitzis. Although he meant to have tchelas, but the pasuk says L'dorei seichem, and Farshim learn to tell us that even when we don't have access to tchelas, don't think tchelas is miyake, right? L'dorei seichem. So we keep the mitzvah of Tzitzis regardless of whether there is tchelas. Ton Rabban, Ger's manazeh, so a ger that comes forth nowadays, he can't bring a carbon, but he has to put aside some money, so that in the future he can bring a carbon. To put aside a quarter of a dinar, which is the cheapest likina, first pair of birds that we had a couple of days ago. The cheapest pair of birds they found was it dropped to a quarter of a dinar. So that's how much we obligate him to set aside. Amar Rabbi Shimon, it's not so simple. Kvar nimna, alav, rabban, yechel mezakeh, ubatla. Yechel mezakeh with his bezdin, with his yeshiva, they voted it out. They ruled it out. Why? It shouldn't come to pitfall. You might mistakenly use that money, which is kaddish. Amar Rabbi Debar Gershom, Amar Rabbi Debar Ava, that's what we do. Halach Rabbi Shimon, nowadays we don't set aside money, we're concerned about misuse, so we wait until Beis HaMikdash will come and then he'll put forth his carbon. Some applied this quote of Rav Adabra on the following halach. Tana Rabban, Ger Toishav. Muta lasses malacha b'Shabbos la'atzmei ki Yisrael b'chodesh Hamoed. A Ger Toishav is sort of a part ger, somewhere that he's just committed to the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nei Noyach, somewhere that he's just committed to keep away from Avodah Zarah. In any case, he's not really a full ger, so he's allowed to do work on Shabbos, la'atzmei, for his own personal benefit. Ki Yisrael b'chodesh Hamoed, but not all the way. In a limited fashion. Just like a Yisrael can do certain types of work on Chol HaMoed. Rashi says, B'davar ha'aved, situations where he might incur loss. So to prevent from financial loss, he can do malacha. Likewise, this fellow can engage in this type of work, Davar ha'aved work, on Shabbos, but not otherwise. Otherwise, he's got to somewhat rest like a Yisrael. Rabbi Kiva Omer Ki Yisrael b'Yom Tov. You can do a bit more than that. You can do food preparatory work, like a Yisrael does on Yom Tov. Taisa says, why are we giving him these limitations? Either rest all the way or don't rest. So Taisa in the bottom says, the nefisha ba'al maksive v'lo yishvisa. Pasuk says, v'nafesh ben ha'maschavai v'ager. V'nafesh means some sort of work limitations, but not full shvisa, full rest like Yisrael. So this is sort of an in-between parameter. Rabbi Yisrael Imer Teishav Oisa b'Shabbos la'atzmak Yisrael b'chayil. He says, no way, Ger Teishav, free to do whatever he wants, just like Yisrael during the weekday. Shimon Omer Echad Ger Teishav Echad Evgecham Eved V'amam Teishavim. He adds another item to the list. Not only a Ger Teishav, likewise if a goy, slave or maid servant of Teishavim, who are not really committed to the Gerus process, which is typical for a Eved. They're just going to work, but they're not really converting. So they can do whatever they want on Shabbos for their own personal use. Oisem malacha ba'atzma l'Shabbos, b'Shabbos la'atzma Yisrael b'chal. Okay, now there's a piece missing here, because what's the connection to the On this we have a conclusion. How do we paskin? Amar Rav Ada, Ridi bar Gershom, Amar Rada bar Ava, Loch Reb Shimon. So some applied this quote on this discussion. Paskin Reb Shimon, that he's free to do whatever he wants. Continues the mission. Typically, a carbon is for a mistaken violation, a shaygig. In the following cases, 4 in total, these individuals will bring a carbon even if it was a outright violation, b'mezid, knowingly. Habal shivcha, fellow gets involved with a shivcha charufa, interacts with her, there's a carbon. V'nazir shenitzma. We have a nazir who's meant to keep away from tumah, he becomes tamah, he's got to bring karbanis. Even if it was b'mezid. Shvasa edus, a fellow was contacted by a litigant, please come and testify on my behalf. No, I have no clue what you're talking. He swears falsely, then he comes and admits, he has to bring a carbon, and even if he did it willingly, knowingly. Shvas HaBikadan, a fellow was approached by a person claiming to have entrusted him with something, and he's in full denial, and he swears, and he comes and admits, he has to bring an asham, even if his denial was with full intent. Next list. Chamisha Mebin Korban Echad Alveris Arbe. The next 5 instances, we have a person bringing one carbon that can cover many violations, which again is a chidush. Typically, it's one carbon per violation. No, it's an umbrella carbon that covers many. Now we have finally v'chamisha mevin carbon oil b'yered. In 5 cases, the person will bring this fluctuating fluid type of carbon. An animal if he can afford it, a bird if he can't, or even a mincha if he can't. Let's go back to the previous list. 5 who bring one carbon on many violations. Habal shifcha b'yas harbe gets involved many times in the shifcha. One carbon covers it all. Nazir shenit matumas harbe. Nazir became tummy over and over again. At the end of his process, he'll bring one carbon that covers it all. Okay, so we have a printout of several that will bring a carbon for zadain, several bring one carbon on many violations, and several bring a carbon every year. Let's go back to the first list of bringing a carbon even on account of a mesit. First was a shifcha, abala shifcha. How do we know? How do we know that there's a carbon even for a mesit? Tanarabban v'chipur al hakayin be'ela asham al chatase asher chata. It sounds like redundant. Al chatase asher chata. Malamed learn from here. She may be carbon and echad al veris harbes. Even if he sins with her multiple times, one carbon covers it all. And the pasuk concludes again with a redundancy. What's the chatase asher chata? Lasa is mezit k'shegi, to treat a mezit just like a shegi. Meaning, although typically a carbon is limited for shegi, in this case he's even al mezit. Nazir shenitma. Now, how do we know? Now, likewise, a nazir brings his carbon, even if it's a willful violation, a willful tumah. So, out of the blue, he got involved with a mace, became tummy. Pesa is a shegig. It was unintended. We find another pasuk that Pesa means shegig, but Pesa eva hadafai. So a fellow killed somebody by mistake. So we see Pesa relates to shegig. Okay, so Pesach is Shogeg. What about Pisayim? Zoinus. Pisayim can relate to an oinus, total accident, unintended, unexpected. Hashem Pisayim al Moshe. Hashem turns to Moshe suddenly. So they have to leave. Unexpected. So we see that Pisayim relates to the oinus experience as well. Where else do we find Pisayim? Tanidach. Pisayim is amazing. We find Pisayim regarding amazing as well. Willful act. So wise man, shrewd man, he expects something bad, he hides out, he stays away. Psaim avram v'nashu. But the psaim, careless people, go right in there and they get punished. Rashi explains, if there's punishment, obviously there's a mazid. Because ain't oinish alal mazid. So it must be a willful violation. So at this point we have two words, Pesa and Pisayim. Pesa relates to Shogeg, as per the first pasuk. Pesa b'leiva hadafai. And Pisayim relates to willful or accidental. Mazid and oinish. Asks the Gemara, why can't we just cover it all in the same word? Because technically, the word Pisayim can relate to all three experiences. Let the pasuk just simply state the word Pisayim without Pesa. Pisayim itself relates to all three types: the mashma, shogeg, mashma, mazid, the mashma, oinus. Mistaken, purposeful, and accidental. Where do we find mazid v'oinus? As discussed, k'damaran. Guess what? Pisayim can only also relate to a shogeg, an accent. A non-thinker just believes everything. A gullible person goes along. That's like a shogeg, right? So we see that the term pisayim, pesi, relates to shogeg as well. Without pesa, everything is covered. Shogeg and mazid and oinus. Answers the Gemara ikosav kra pisayim. You know what? If only the word pisayim, the mashma shogeg, umashma mazid, mashma oinus, which you're attempting to relate to all three experiences, I would say, guess what? No. I would think he might say carbon b'shogeg. Perhaps over here, it doesn't relate to anything other than shogeg. Although semantically you're correct, it can relate to mazid and oinus, but not over here. Why? Look throughout the Torah. When does one bring a carbon? Rashi says, the reiv karbanes ala shogeg boim. For the most part, karbanes come for shogeg. You forgot it was chaylev, you forgot that it's shah. So here's an exception. Pisayim technically can mean everything, but not over here. Over here it just means shogeg. Aval oinus and mazid, but perhaps there's no carbon for oinus and mazid. Kos rachmana pesa. That's why Torah duplicates the expression. Pesa, Pisayim. The shogeg. So pesa certainly is a shogeg, as we had from the pasuk over there. Pesa b'leiva. So once we have shogeg checked off, so what's Pisayim for? The extra word, it must relate to the other experiences. So now we have it all covered. To reveal to us the true meaning of Pisayim, the oinus of mazid. And still, you bring a carbon. So we learn from here that a Nazir became Tamei regardless of circumstance. Shogeg, oinus, mazid brings a carbon. Shvuos Eidos as well brings for a mazid as well, the Manol Tanarabanan, Bekula Nemer Nelam. The other fellows who bring a carbon over there, it says V'nelam. He forgot that it was a Beis HaMikdash, and he walked into the tomb and said V'nelam. He was unmindful. Kan lo nemer v'nelam. Here by the Shvuos, there's no mention of the word v'nelam to teach us lachayev al hamezid k'shogeg. Teach us that he brings a carbon even for a mezid, just like you'll be a shogeg. Shvuos apikad minol. How do we know there? Yolov techta. Mish Shvuos Eidos. We have a shava techta here, techta there. And we compare notes, just like by Shvuos Eidos is a carbon for a mezid, same over here. Okay, so now we know that by the Shifcha there is a carbon for mezid, by Nazar Shenitma, Shvuos Eidos, and Shvuos Apikov. Next list. Chamisha Mevin carbon echad al averos harbi. In 5 situations, a person can bring one carbon to cover many violations. We have the Shifcha, Remember the nozer that became tummy. How do we know that it's so? If a thought gets involved many times with the shivcha, one carbon covers it all. And by the way, we're talking even b'mezid. But no, how do we know? The Tanur Rabban b'chipar ol hakoyin be'el hasham al chatasai asher chata. We had this before already. So duplication al chatasai asher chata teaches malamish maybe carbon al veris harbi one covers many. The pasuk concludes with a redundancy as well. And then asher chata to teach us lasas mezid k'shaygi. That is a carbon by mezid as well. As the Gemara about kroki ksiv mezid ksiv. So you're saying that the benchmark is shaygi. We have to add mezid as well. But no, look, the psukim they're speaking about mezid. Rashi says there's malchus for the woman. That's only if it was done willfully and knowingly. Just the opposite. The given is mezid. And the added pasuk and the Mishnah as well are coming to teach us that even by a shaygig, he brings a karm for getting involved with the shivcha charuf, with this partially married shivcha. We'll see later exactly how to define her status. So we just reversed it. The given wasn't shaygig or adding mezid. The given was mezid, and not only there's a karm by mezid, there's a karm by shaygig as well. Boy minei Rabbi Chanina Ternoi asked me Rabbi Yechon, what happens? Habal chamesh shivchas charufis belamachas. He gets involved with 5 shivchas. In one sort of experience, Rashi says, meaning he hadn't yet atoned for the first sin, he hadn't yet brought a carbon, and went on to the next one. Now, what happens to him? Chayev al kol achas v'achas. He's chayev a separate carbon per woman. Or chayev al achas is just one for all. Normally, he says in this case, of course, it's separate. Separate people is deemed as separate experiences. So he asks him, okay, here it's separate liabilities. What about the next case? Why is this different? If Phil gets involved with one shivcha, 5 separate experiences, 5 separate forgetfulnesses. He forgot that it was forbidden, got involved, reminded, forgot again. In which case you'll agree it's only one liability because it's one. Oh, he says, yeah, a big difference. He says, Ein shchivcha achas gufen muchlaken. In this case, it's one person, one shivcha. There are no separations of people here, of gufen, of body. So therefore, it's ultimately one chiyuv carbon. But in your case, where it's 5 separate people, hey shivachas, separate individuals, gufen muchlaken, and each one triggers its own liability. Ask the Gemara, Uminolan de legabe shivcha, gufen muchlaken. How do we even know this? That we differentiate based on the fact that they're separate people. Perhaps, after all, it's one type of violation. Maybe it's all covered on the same carbon. Uminolan gabe shivcha, gufen muchlaken. Just like we say, 5 involvements with the same woman is covered under the same carbon. Right? We have a pasuk for that. Maybe it doesn't matter if it's the same person or 5 different people. Just like you said over there by the regular arayis. Pasuk adds the word isha there. It says vel isha b'nez tumasa. So the word isha was lachalak al kol isha v'isha. Tell you each woman has its own liability. Gab shivcha namik here as well as an extra word shivcha. Ashiv gab shivcha namik siv ashiv kavesh. Isha shivcha sar, we turn on the base. Shivcha. And the mentioning of the word shivcha here is extra, lachalak to tell you. And differentiate. Al kol shivcha shivcha ish shivcha triggers its own liability. Okay, so bottom line, although we learn from the pasuk that one carbon covers many, that is provided as the same person, but if it's separate shivachas, lachalak al kol shivcha v'shivcha. Nazar shnit m'tumas hamri, likewise by nazar. Although we experience multiple tumah experiences, one carbon covers it all. Now, we're meant to know the process of the nazar is as follows. He was meant to have his hair grow, refrain from wine, refrain from tumah, and he touched mace. That's it aborts the process, He has to get the hazah from the paraduma on the 7th and the 3rd and the 7th day. He has to count the 7 days. On the 7th day, he cuts his hair off. And on day 8, he brings his karbanis. So what happened was, he's just about ready to start his count again, restarting the zero. So he became tummy again. Says the Mishnah, don't worry, not to worry. It's not going to cost you extra money. One carbon fits it all, covers it all. Says the Gemara, Mantana. Which Tana, which opinion are we expressing here? Amar Rav Chizah, Rabbi Yisrael Ridi. It's that sheet. The Amar tells us, Nazirus at Tahara. When does he begin counting his new, fresh Nazirus? Mishriya Dechayla starts on day 7, a day prior to bringing the karbanis. And that's what the Mishnah means. So he's meant to start his new count today on day 7, and he becomes tummy again. Boom, lo and behold. Not to worry. Because you haven't yet entered the realm of the carbon, which is only tomorrow. So it's still going to be covered under the same carbon. So our case will be as follows. He's on day 7, becomes tummy again. Okay, so start the whole tahara process all over again. Again on day 7, he touches the mace again. So although it was a repetitive experience, only one carbon. Since there was no time that a carbon had been activated yet. It wasn't a time for a carbon. It wasn't yet day 8. So the Nazirus hadn't yet entered that new phase of carbon. So one carbon covers it all. So it only works according to this opinion. So basically, he has multiple tumais, but still covered under the same carbon because he hasn't yet entered the carbon realm. The carbon wasn't yet activated. The Rebbe, according to Rebbe, this won't work. You cannot have the many covered under the one. Since Rebbe teaches us, he holds they have to wait until tomorrow, day 8, to start your new count. So you'll never have multiple tumas under the same carbon. How? If it's like the previous description, he got tummy on day 7, again on day 7, that's not multiple tumas. Kula tumah richtehi. It's one extended tumah. Because he hasn't yet really gotten out of the tumah yet. He hasn't yet restarted the clock. So that's not, that shouldn't be described as many tumas under the same carbon. It's one continuous tumah. Either nitma bishmini. Okay, let's say it's already day 8, became tummy. He does it again, waits till day 8, becomes tummy. True. Here there are separate independent experiences because once day 8 arrives, he starts counting the new Nazirus of Tahara. Now becomes tummy. Boom, it's a new experience. But guess what? New experience, a new carbon. It won't be covered under the same carbon. Given the Yatzah Shah Shuri Lakabla carbon, since, as we explained before, day 8 is carbon activation time. You can't cover it under the same carbon. Each tumah experience generates its own carbon. So according to Rebbe, it's like a tablecloth. Whichever way you pull it, you're going to come up short. If it's still day 7 and it's repeated on day 7 again, that's not called multiple tumas. It's still part of the same old tumah. If it's day 8, you're right, then it's a new tumah, it's a new carbon. It must be Rabbi Yisrael speaking, who says that you begin the new, fresh Nazirus on day 7, a day before the chiv of carbon. So in fact, if it became tummy again, that's a brand new tumah experience because it's aborting this new count, but nevertheless, it's covered under the same carbon. At the end of which, all these experiences will bring just one carbon to cover it all. Okay, where do we have this machlekes? Umay deroisa the sanya v'kidash es reisha b'mahu. So Nazir became tamei. He's got to go through the whole system. When does he start again? B'mahu. What's b'mahu? B'yayim havas kabarnaisa on day 8. The Rebbe b'yayim the glachta, the day that he shaves on day 7. Okay, so we have a Mishnah which discussed those that bring a carbon for Zodan, like Shogeg, we have Shevcha Charufa, we have Nazar Shenitma, Shvosei Shvokatan. We have 5, and we discussed 2 so far, of those that will bring one carbon for many experiences, Shevcha Charufa and a Nazar Shenitma. Okay, we have 2 more in the coming Mishnah. Hamakana Li'ishtal and Nashim Harbi. So there's a Saita, a woman was straight, got involved with men, and he warned her and he gave her the Kinoi, the warning, Aida Nashim Harbi, on account of many men. So she did this over and over again. How many processes will she go through? How many times will she drink the water? Only one. One covers it all. Likewise, a Metzora, who goes through a very similar process to a Nazir Tameh. He has to bring his 2 birds, one of them you shecht, one of them you dip it to the water, sprinkle it on the Metzora. He shaves, so that kicks off the purification process, and then he waits 7 days. On day 8, shaves again and brings karbanos. So again, it's a 7 plus day 8 for karbanos. And he became a Metzora all over again. So he thought he was out of the woods, and suddenly he sees a new nega. Before he brought his karbanos, right? What happens? One set of karbanos covers it all. Covers it all. Now, next statement will sound a bit cryptic, which the Gemara will explain for us. So he brought his birds and became a Metzora again. It doesn't count. He'll have to re-bring it. That's what it sounds like from the Mishnah. He has to re-bring it until he's done with his chatas. So basically, 2 birds start the process. He waits 7 days, and day 8 he brings a chatas and asham as well. So unless he brought his chatas and then he became Metzora, I'll have to re-bring the birds when he's ready to do it all again. Rabbi Yudaim Ashiv Hasham, the asham is what makes it happen. And if he became a Metzora before he brought the asham, then his birds don't count. He has to re-bring it later on. 1 pair of birds for the old tzaras, 1 for the new one, which sort of contradicts ourselves because we just said you can bring 1 set of karbanos for everything. The Gemara will discuss this. But no, how do we know the concept that 1 set of karbanos covers many? One drinking of the water, of the Saita water, covers many experiences. So there's Teiras. Teiras has a broad-ranging, connotation to it. So there's Teiras Aknois. Teira Achas. So one process will apply the Kinuyin Harbi for many Kinuyin, for many strayings. How do we know that 1 set of karbanos covers many nega experiences? Once again, the chsiv is Teira Achas, 1 process for many experiences of nega. So it sounds like he has to re-bring birds for the first nega, and then again for the next. V'Ambas just told me 1 set of karbanos at the end of the process covers it all. Ein maybe al karbanech chesur remech sochitani. The Mishnah here is referring to a totally different concept. Of course, 1 set of karbanos covers it all. We're dealing with a whole different story. The Mishnah is meant to be learned as though it's missing some words. You read it like this. We're talking about 2 different questions here, 2 different situations. Firstly, the multiple question. Hey, Vitzipar, all he got to do is bring his birds, and suddenly he's hit by another nigga. Before he brought his karbanos, before he brought his, set of chatas, oil, and asham that a Metzora has to bring. Not to worry. Wait until you're done. The next nega, you're free. You did your tshuva, you're cleansed. Ein maybe el karban echad. Bring only 1 set of karbanos for everything. That's the first halach, which is consistent with what we said. Next point. What about the question of fluctuation? We know that a Metzora can bring karbanos on different levels. If he can afford, brings animals. Chatas and oilo, animals. If he can't, he brings birds. So what happened if he was able to afford, when he started the process, suddenly his fortunes dropped? Or the opposite. He had an uptick in his financial situation, now he could afford an animal. Which way does it go? To determine banius, vashiras, poverty or wealth, meaning what class of karbanis? The poor man's korban or the wealthy man's korban? That's determined by his status. At which point? When he brings his chatos. Where is he holding at that point? If he's an usher, then he brings all 3 karbanis like that. If he's an ani, then he brings the korban ani. Depends on his financial standing when he brings the asham. Non-hasam, we have a Mishnah which mentions 3 shittas. He brought his asham and suddenly he's wealthy. It's all about what he's holding when he brings the chatas. That determines his level of obligation. Depends on the asham. Tanya, no. Depends where he was when he brought his birds. All based on the same pasuk. He can't afford a full-fledged tahara process. It makes sense. that what's going to be the determining factor? The carbon, the chatas, which is the mechaper, which clears him from his sin, which is the cause of his tzaras. So the term tahara here means to clear him of his spiritual sin. So that's what determines the standard of his carbon, the level of carbon. Where is he holding when he brings the chatas? That's the pivotal moment. He says tarasa means no, it's the asham, which is machshir him, cleanses him, enables him to eat karbanes. It's nor this, neither that. Rather, it's the birds. What causes that? What activates the whole tahara process? Back on day one, the birds. So that's what determines his status. Where's he holding at that point? Ani, Asher. Okay, so you have two more examples of the one covering the many. By the Saita, water, covering many experiences, and the karbonas of a mitzvah. Okay, next mission for the fifth and final item on that list of the one covering the many. So a woman has many births within a very short period of time. For example, she birthed a nekeva. First 2 weeks she's tummy regardless. Next 66 days, anything that she sees, the dam is tar. So until day 80, she's still considered within the birthing experience, so to speak. And anything occurs during that 80-day period, a miscarriage, etc., is still covered under the same experience, under the same carbon, which every woman brings upon birthing a child. She had many births. So for instance, she miscarried within 80 days of the nekeva. And then it recurred once again. Miscarriage within the 80 of this second miscarriage. It's all covered under the same carbon. At the end of all these experiences, one carbon for everything. Or even if it's males, which have a shorter a post-birth experience, it only lasts 40 days instead of 80. Right? First week she's tummy, next 33 days she's tummy. So how do you have recurring births or miscarriages? Because if the fetus is below 40 days, it has no din of later regarding tumor, right? So she's carrying twins, and she births one today, one in a week, one there's some interval, some delay between the births. In any case, it's all considered one continuous process, and one carbon covers it all. I agree that the second experience, which happened within the first experience, is 80 days, considered one regarding, carbon. But past that point, you can't include 3 into 2, which in itself is included in 1. It's not a chain. It just keeps on going perpetually on and on. She brings the carbon on the first experience and on the second, which was enveloped in the first 80 days. But then we start fresh. She'll bring another carbon on the third, because the third is too far from the first. All those within 80 of the second were too far from the first. Of course, I agree. She won't bring on the fourth experience, which happened within 80 of the third. So basically, splitting into 2. First and second is one experience. Second, and third and fourth is another experience. How do we know a multiple birth are covered under the same carbon? Tana, covered of sheishes. Once again, we have Teiras, which encompasses it all. One carbon for many births. Let's say she has 2 reasons to bring a carbon: birthing, and she was a zava. She had blood. No, you can't cover it under the same carbon. Zois, each one is separate. What's the consideration even? You would think maybe one carbon for Leda and Ziva. They're totally unrelated experiences. So if that's the case, let's say she ate dam, which triggers one liability, and she gave birth. Here too, you would suggest one carbon fits all. Says we have to revise the brisa. We didn't mean to pair together Leda and Ziva, they're unrelated. So although in the Mishnah we learned that experience 2 which occurred within the Malais, the full count, the 80 days, is enveloped, is swallowed into the same experience and considered one regarding carbon. What about if it happened after Malois? Second birth happened on day 85. Is that also covered? So she hadn't yet brought a carbon. She could just cover all this together. No, Talmud says each one is deemed separate and independent of the other. Zois, Teresei Ledes, each one earns its own carbon. Okay, so we have a Mishnah. Multiple ladies could be covered under the same carbon, provided they happen within the Yemei Malais. That's learned from the pasuk. Zois Teresei Ledes. Shouldn't be a carbon. All the best to you and Hatzlach.